Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nick if you're new here, and this is Playing with Nick. Julie, they can see you because the mirror is right here.
Oh!
I have you here today because I brought a bunch of plants up that I thought might be some really good beginner plants if this is something that's new for you and maybe you want to dip your toe in plants. A lot of these plants are low commitment, high reward. I have 7 here for you. I hope everybody's doing well. I've been busy working, studying for my boards, which is why I haven't posted in a little bit. But yeah, so let me get right into it. I have a pothos here for you, which I'm sure you all have heard about a pothos. This is probably the easiest out of every one of my plants. This is the easiest one I have. It's a great plant to propagate, meaning you could just clip it like just below a node, put it in water, it'll grow new plants for you. It'll grow in a variety of different lights. So you could put this plant in low light, it'll grow for you. It will be a little more leggy, so it won't be as full at the top, but it'll still grow. If you put it in higher light, it'll be fuller like this. I have these all over the house. I have a really big one downstairs. I have them in 2 of my kids' rooms. When I water this one, I wait until it dries out entirely, like all the way bone dry, and then I give it a good soak. And I tell it's bone dry. I don't know if you guys watched my short, but I use the chopstick. I stick the chopstick in the plant, and if the chopstick comes out clean, which it did, so that means this plant is probably ready to be watered, then I can water the plant. But if I stick the chopstick in the plant and it comes out dirty, meaning like dirt is sticking to it, then that means the plant is probably still moist and it could wait a little bit to be watered. As far as pests go, I have dealt with some pests with pothos. Like if you overwater these, they're really prone to like fungus gnats. I never really had to deal with spider mites with this one. Just for me, just fungus gnats. For a friend, I did have a pothos that I took care of for him, and his had mealybugs. But yeah, so not too bad with the pests. A really easy plant. You can find them at almost any big box store, Lowe's, Home Depot, any garden you can find them at, and they're pretty affordable. The next plant I have is a Syngonium or Syngonium. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about these, but I think they're so beautiful. This is another really easy plant. This plant can live in different lights as well. I think just like with the pothos, like if you put it in a different light, like if this one's pretty full, so it's getting quite a bit of light for me. But if I were to put it in an area with lower light, then it probably would be more sparse and like more spread out and not as full at the top. This one, I have not really dealt with too many pests for this one. I water it the same way I water the pothos. So I stick the chopstick in. If it comes out dry, then I know it needs a good water. This one is pretty communicative, just like the pothos. So like when it gets dry, it'll start to droop for you a little bit. They're really affordable. Probably can get them between 12 and 16 bucks at any store. I have this one, which is, I looked it up before I got on here, which is the Syngonium white butterfly. I have a confetti one, which is like a mint green one, and it has a little bit of pink in it. And then I have another one that's more pink. All of which I really, really enjoy. The next plant I have for you is like one of my favorites, and this is probably one of the first plants I ever had when I first got into plants. The first one I was able to actually keep alive, and this one is my ZZ plant. This plant will live in any light as well. This one doesn't get a whole lot of light. I keep it in my bathroom. It's probably like honestly 10 feet away from a west facing window, and it's a small west facing window, and it still puts out a new stem like, you know, every couple months. This one can go a good while without watering. Maybe like I've gone even up to a month without watering this plant, and it still does pretty fine. The reason for that is it has bulbs. So like instead of having like the thin roots like the Syngonium and the pothos, it has bulbs that almost look like potatoes, and they store water. So you don't really need to water that one too much. And if you do overwater that one, you'll kill it just from overwatering it. So yeah, that's a really good one. Super easy grower, very low maintenance. If I were you though, I would buy this one. It's a slow grower though. So if I were you, I would buy this one. And if you want to make more of a statement, I'd get a bigger one instead of like a small one. The next plant I have is a ponytail palm. this one. This is one of my favorites too. This one has like a caudex, kind of like that. I think that's what it's called, a caudex. It's it's kind of barky at the bottom, and it stores water as well. So this one doesn't require a whole lot of water either. This is another plant that I only water maybe once a month. This one I have right in front of a south-facing window. This one is a little bit more particular about watering. I water it when it's completely dry using that same chopstick trick, probably about once a month. It does prefer distilled water, but I don't give it distilled water. I just give it regular tap water, and I add fertilizer to it whenever I water it. As far as pests go, I haven't seen any pests on it. I do like treat it maybe about once a month with that, I think it's Jack's Dead Bug Brew. I just mix it with some water and I spray it down just as a preventative measure, but haven't dealt with pests. It can live in all different levels of light. It doesn't require a whole lot of water, and I just think it has a really interesting shape. So yeah, that's the ponytail palm. The next plant I have is a Scindapsus. This one is really pretty because it has a really unique leaf pattern, and I just like the way the leaves are really big. It reminds me a little bit of a pothos, but it is a different plant. This one I keep in front of a south-facing window. You could probably put this one in a lower light area, but you probably wouldn't get as much growth. I have a bigger one than this, but this one was just easier just for the video purpose. I water it when it's completely dry, just like the rest of them. That's why they're on this list. I haven't really had to deal with many pests for this one. I do spray it down just like the ponytail palm, maybe about once a month just to prevent that. And then I use a systemic granule just to make sure I'm not getting gnats or anything like that. But yeah, this is Syngonium exotica. Yeah, Scindapsus exotica. I think, don't quote me on that. You can get these from any big box store, you know, but like I said, between 12 and 16 bucks. I'm not really big on spending a whole lot of money on plants. Like, I love the greenery in my home. I think it adds a lot to the space. But almost all of my plants have been either, I think the most I have spent on a plant might be like 40 bucks. I'm not really into spending a whole lot of money on plants. So yeah, very attainable, very easy to keep alive, very easy to propagate. Just like with the pothos, you just cut it below the little nodes, those little brown bumps on there. You cut it about an inch below there, stick it in water, it'll grow roots for you, and then you can make a new plant. Another cutie I brought up here that is super easy. This is a spider plant. I have a huge spider plant in my son's room. I just brought this one because it was easier to carry, and that one would have been super annoying to get down. This one does not require a whole lot of light either. I haven't really had too many issues with pests. It is very prolific, just like the rest of them. I only water it when it's completely dry. This one lives in a west-facing window, so it gets a decent amount of, it lives in an east-facing window, so it does get a decent amount of morning light. But the mom that has, and I'll try and insert a picture of the mom that has like 1 million plantlets on it, is in a north-facing window, which doesn't get a whole lot of light either in it, and she's been thriving since the day I got her. So for this one, I think it does prefer distilled water too. Sometimes I do get like brown tips, but that doesn't really bother me a whole lot. But yeah, that's really the only thing I feel like that's specific to this plant, is it maybe prefers this distilled water. But aside from that, I only water it when it's completely dry. It's very prolific, grows really fast, super easy to propagate. And yeah, so the spider plant, that's another great choice if you're looking to get into plants. And then last, I have your snake plant. Well, this is not like your everyday run-of-the-mill snake plant. This one's a little bit different, but it's still kind of the same species, still kind of the same level of care. This one, it hates wet feet, so I only water it when it's completely dry, probably like once a month. These can live in all different levels of light. I keep this one, it's in front of a south-facing window, so it probably gets like medium light because I have it like closer to the floor. Yeah, but it's been putting out a whole bunch of new little spikes there for me. I see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably about 8 since I've gotten it, so it's doing really good. And I think it's a really unique looking plant. So that's the cool thing about the snake plants, or I think they call them dracaenas now, but they used to be called sansevieras. They have them in like all different shapes and sizes, and they still add a lot of visual interest to your space. So I think this is another really good one to have. And I haven't really had to deal with too many pests for this one either, but just like all the rest of my plants, I do try to treat it maybe once a month with like a natural pesticide, if you will, just to keep, you know, those unwanted guests at bay. So yeah, so these are all plants that I think would be super easy for you if you are looking to get into plants. All very affordable. As I said, the most expensive out of all of these plants was probably this ponytail palm, and I think I spent like $26 on that. The pothos, I feel like it practically pays for itself because I've propagated that plant more times than I can count. Same thing with the Scindapsus. They grow so fast and you can propagate them, so I feel like, you know, $12 is not really anything. And then same thing with the spider plant. This, I'll say it was free because it grew off of my mother plant. So, but even the mother plant, I think I might have paid like $19. So all very affordable, all very beautiful. So yeah, I hope you learned a little bit from this video that I'm posting. I hope you give one of these plants a shot. I think they'll add a lot of love to your space. Until next time, thanks for watching. And I hope you have a good one. Bye. How was that, Dylan?